Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. The incompetence at Infinity Ward truly knows no bounds. It appears the majority of the better maps in Modern Warfare 2 will almost certainly be unplayable from a competitive perspective due to legal battles which are now ongoing, effectively because Infinity Ward have seemingly just copied and pasted real life locations. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you are new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it. This is a truly remarkable story to be honest. And yeah, this is one of the maps in question, the Crown Raceway. We would well imagine this is based, of course, on the Marina Bay, Singapore Grand Prix paddock and pit lane and this type of stuff. You'd imagine F1 aren't so happy about Formula 1 cars being used as a firing gallery, and we'll see that here in a second. Now, obviously, other complaints about the state of the game, the time to kill, all these questions. There have been some questions raised even by Rambo and the like. What if the pros GA'd all the good weapons and decided to use the weaker ones to make the effectively to increase the time to kill or make the time to kill slower so the game has more competitive integrity? I don't think the pros are going to do that personally. They're still trying to figure out what the better weapons are, but it's not out of the question that more and more weapons over time get GA'd, and Slasher even points to kind of the map situation, which is certainly a big one. Just to say this real quick, so here we go, 2 Real, Hollow, Mock, and iLLeY. They're going to be, well, a team under DCM, Decimate Gaming, for the upcoming season. Coach, though, Parasite, as you can see here, head coach Parasite. I thought, honestly, Parasite and I think it was Bevels were going to team up as kind of a pairing in terms of analyst, head coach type situation. That's probably not the case anymore, but Parasite has got a head coach role somewhere. Pretty cool stuff, because I think that Hacky obviously wanted a spot straight into the CDL. Probably a lot of orgs want a bit more credibility for Parasite, you know, prove your worth to some degree as a coach and then make it happen in the CDL. So that's probably what he's going to try and do here with this roster. There's also some other problems with the game. Look at this. I don't even understand how this is even possible, but this poor lad just straight up dies halfway across the map. And I mean, yeah, I think this is the clip actually right here at the start. He just dies and he doesn't really know how. And this guy on the other side of the map was just punching some guy in the water and it literally just killed him across the map. So I don't really understand what Infinity Ward's playing out there, but this is another classic example. Now, this is on the Greenberg Hotel map, which has been a key point of conversation. Some really interesting spots here that TSC have been finding, wallbang spots effectively. And yeah, this is one example here you guys can see in a second. But the thing is, this map might not actually be playable from a competitive perspective. Look at this. The bomb's trying to go down on B, like, yeah, just shoot straight through this wall and kill the guy in about 3 bullets all the way across the map. So yeah, another classic thing. Fair play to TST, but this spot might not be usable in competitive play because it's very possible that this map is effectively entirely banned. Now, before we get to that, wanted to mention the fact that the pros have banned the Kastov-74u. This is, I mean, look at this spawn, by the way, here over at the Fortress map. This is one of the only maps that will remain in the game, it seems, at the moment. But yeah, he literally just spawns in the line of sight. But this was the weapon that everyone was using, the Kastov-74u. You basically put on the Kastov-74u, you put some attachments on to make it into an SMG, and it's the best gun in the game. Everyone was using it, really, pros, ARs, or, you know, SMGs, ARs alike, and therefore they decided, you know what, enough's enough, we've got to get rid of it. So last night it was becoming clear that the 74u was getting GAs, and Pred even confirmed this on stream that, yeah, indeed, according to most of his sources, the 74u is gone. Therefore, instead, they're using a proper SMG, the Vaznev, but they're like, I don't really understand how Seiko has managed to pull this off, but the Vaznev is basically a 74u. If you look at it, it's basically a 74u. It's just got different iron sights to the actual 74u that you can make it into an SMG. I don't understand how people are meant to understand this stuff.
Don't be talking about GA, bro. That's
74u is GA, bro. That's why I'm not using that. Nah.
I don't even know, bro.
74u, bro. The gun you're using, Joe.
Yeah, this, I don't like it. Why would you not use it?
Yeah.
But regardless of what's going on and which 74u is the real one or whatever, they're now using the Vaznev. And even as Pred says, Slasher told me, I heard from Accuracy. Accuracy says I heard from Methods. That was after I heard from Attach. So yeah, who knows? And then yeah, Attach admits he was the one that GA'd it. So yeah, obviously between them, they decided that this SMG has got to go. The ARs are getting blessed again, but then again, there's still another. Like, the Vaznev is pretty good anyway, and that's seemingly what everyone's using right now. There are some alternatives. I think the Lackman, which is basically the MP5, I think it'd be nice to see some of that, but for now, the pros have gravitated towards this weapon, which is not particularly satisfying to watch or to play with, to be honest, at least what I've seen so far. But as you can see, it basically is a 74u in terms of design, but it's not the 74u. I mean, whatever. The Kastov is gone, is basically all you guys need to know for now. Are the pros right to do this? To be honest, I don't mind it because it was the dominant weapon in the meta. I just hope that we do get to a point where there can be 3 weapons in this year's game. I think often the SCAR or the TAQ, that's the gun that most people are using for an AR, but the M4 is also viable, so we might have a 3-weapon meta. This, though, the Vaznev might be the SMG that is used. This even J-Cod comes out with his tier list here. This is the Vaznev 9K. Also, the Lackman, he reckons the MP5 is good. The P90 as well, the Fennec, which is the Vector. And then he reckons that the MP7 and the Bison or whatever this is. And, I mean, this looks like kind of like a short AUG or whatever. That's not very good. But the MP7, it'd be nice if that was viable, but apparently not. And they've all got, like, weird names, of course, because, you know, this is Call of Duty 2022. So, of course, you know, this is the weapon that's now being used in question. This on the Las Almas map, which thankfully is still going to be playable. But some of them aren't, for very good reason, and honestly, shocking reasons. I've never seen anything like this in the history of Call of Duty, and I've no idea how they thought they could get away with this. And, well, we'll see what this means here in a second. Just a quick note on the classes, because most pros are using the Vaznev, of course, and this is Pred's class right here. You guys can check out the tweet. I guess I'll just bring it up on the big screen so you guys can see all the attachments. But there aren't many attachments. It's kind of the key point here, because it seems to be that the more attachments you put on, the worse the weapon performs. So you just want a few attachments on the weapon, and that's the best way to do it. But there are like 160 attachments, so it's going to be quite some time until they figure out, I think, really what is best to be used. And there's some other ones here, and also over at the Breaking Point website, if you guys would like to check them out. Let's talk maps then. So these are the number of hardpoint rotations on each Modern Warfare 2 map. Fortress has 5, Hotel has 6, Crown Raceway has 5, El Asilo has 10, Embassy's got 5, Farm has 8, then Las Almas has 7. Of course, the border crossing map has 6, Tarak and Zarqwa as well, the hydroelectric one. So I've no idea why they thought they were going to do this, and honestly, surely at some point, especially if the pros say, look, we want to play this for competitive, but it's got 10 hardpoints on it, like, can we not make that down to 5? And even some of these maps that have 6 or whatever, it's a bit of an absolute disaster from Infinity Ward. No real surprise. The thing is that some of the maps that are actually good here, Hotel, Crown Raceway, might be completely unplayable from competitive. And that's on top of the fact that some of these maps are already just cut and pasted from ground war games, and the other ones are just copy and pasted from real life. It's unbelievable the level of incompetence here. So this is the key point, and a clip that came out last night from stream, and even Rambo said this on stream himself. And I was like, what does Rambo mean there? He said that, to his understanding, only 2 of the hardpoint maps are playable. And when he said that, I thought, what does he mean? Does he just mean, my initial perspective was, he just means they play terribly, right? From a competitive perspective, those maps play terribly. And maybe that is what he meant. But the reality is that actually there are probably only 2 playable hardpoint maps, as in the other ones won't be allowed on the CDL broadcast.
Zinny's texting me, we can't play the F1 map.
Oh, okay. Nice. Nice, though.
Let's get it. Right, you.
That's bullshit, man.
Wait,
Oh,
Ben,
Yeah,
tell me the
that
reason
looks
for
good,
that.
bro.
I don't know.
Dan, do you know?
What?
It's got to be the legal part,
It's gotta be
surely.
Brandon. There's Brandon with the map.
Oh, that's pissed me off, because I enjoy that map.
Yeah, that map's like probably the best one in the game. I feel like.
I'm pissed.
So stupid.
So these articles were circulating around last night that the Breenberg Hotel map, in addition to the museum map, right? So that museum map was in the beta, and then it was removed from the real game. We thought, okay, why is museum removed? Turns out it was based on a real life location, and understandably, the owners of said museum aren't particularly happy with literally the copied and pasted design of their museum being used in a shooting game. And obviously they didn't have maybe the permission necessary or whatever. And Breenberg Hotel are in the same boat. So there's this hotel called the Conservatorium. Some of you guys might have even been there, who knows? It's in Amsterdam. And, well, we'll see some pictures here in a second. And, I mean, it's honestly remarkable to me. If you're going to use, like, insight and kind of, let's say, inspiration from a real-life location, that's fine as long as you use, you know, inspiration from it, you take the design ideas, and you build it into your own thing. The fact that they literally just went to this hotel, took some pictures, and put it into the real game is actually remarkable. And obviously the hotel's like, well, we didn't approve this. We're not happy with this. You're using our, like, effectively our design in your game, and it's not good for their brand image, I suppose, having, you know, all these gunfights going down in their hotel lobby. And the hotel has not ruled out legal action as a result of this, which probably means that either the map is going to get removed, as Museum did, or, you know, we even saw the concerns with Crown Raceway as well, or, like, certainly, even if it is allowed in the game, probably the CDL isn't going to be allowed to broadcast it. And here we go. So this is, for example, the Singapore Grand Prix Panic over in Singapore. Well, this is the pit lane, right? And I'm sure if you guys have played the map, you probably recognize this type of location here. And I mean, look, all pit lanes look relatively similar, but this is basically what's going on in Singapore. Now, in fairness, they use, I think in the original one that we saw, the Marina Bay Grand Prix map, the F1 cars in question were kind of a newer generation one. They had the Halo one, which is like a new safety device that was introduced a few years ago. The cars they've now got on the map look like more old school cars, kind of like this, to be honest. These are the 2014 cars. But I think they tried, for legal reasons, to maybe, okay, put the cars back a few years to make it so that it's not quite as legally intrusive on the current, I don't know, copyright systems, I don't know. But surely if you're Formula 1 and you're seeing this, you're like, hang on a second here. They've just got a map that's copied and pasted the Singapore Grand Prix pit lane and paddock section. And then they've still got Formula 1 cars there. Yes, they're not branded by actual teams, but like the teams are kind of based on real life teams. And then you're just gonna run around and you know, fire weapons and all this type of stuff on these maps and you know, explode bomb sites and stuff like this. And I'm sure they're thinking, are we really so happy with that? Probably not, right? Now this, if you guys you know, do you guys recognize this particular situation? This is of course the Conservatorium Hotel. This is incredible to me though. Look at this picture that I found here on Google. Like, does this not ring any bells for you guys who may have seen some gameplay on this map? I mean, it's practically identical. And this map as well, or this picture as well, this is crazy to me because it literally is the same in the real game, like pretty much down to the letter. You guys can see, of course, the big arches on the left-hand side. I'm sure if you guys have played the game or watched any gameplay, this looks rather recognizable. And this is the real-life version, and this is the in-game version, where you guys can see again, okay, they haven't got the bar down here, they've just got a desk, they've got some chairs here, they've got this archway here, which is pretty much exactly the same as what you see in real life. And okay, yeah, there are some slight tweaks and differences based on, you know, this in the real game, and it's not called the Conservatorium in the game, it's called the Breenberg. But I mean, like, come on lads, it's basically the same deal. Even this, whatever this thing is here on the right hand side with a kind of curved wall and architecture, it's the same thing in the game. They've got the same curved wall on this kind of black thing up here. So honestly, like, unbelievable scenes that and even the outside sections are basically the same. The architecture is identical. It's not even like they took inspiration from this lobby design and made their entirely new and own map based on it. They just copied and pasted it. And you can't blame the hotel in question for being frustrated about this and thinking, well, surely we've got some potential legal repercussions here. So that is therefore the implication that if these maps indeed are, well, let's say there's licensing issues going on in terms of whether they're allowed to use these maps, and we saw that with Crown Raceway, and we've seen that now with Museum getting removed, might be the case for the hotel map as well. And honestly, those are like some of the only good maps in the game. The hotel map is actually good, at least in what I was watching. The Crown Raceway map as well, definitely, it's not ideal, but it has a lot of good potential. And the pros seem to think or have been told or understand that it's pretty much impossible for them to actually play these maps in the CDL because, look, if they can't play it on broadcast, right, the likelihood is that even if these maps can stay in Modern Warfare 2, they probably won't be allowed to be broadcast on the actual CDL stream. And if that's the case, then they can't play them. So effectively, these maps, Hotel and Crown Raceway, the pros have just stopped scrimming on because they don't believe they'll actually be able to play them. So what's the point practicing a map that they won't be able to play in the real rule set, despite the fact that it's actually, like, those two maps are probably some of the best in the game. It's remarkable incompetence on a new level, to be honest. I never thought that we'd get to a point where they were putting maps into the game that they didn't have the licensing or legal repercussions to actually back up, to which point the amount of maps in the game has now gone down from having, well, we thought there might be quite a lot, like 16 or so. It went down to 11, then it went down to 10 with Museum being gone, and 3 of those maps or whatever already are ground war maps that have just been copied and pasted, and now 2 more of those maps are gone. Like, we basically have no hardpoint maps left. We've got Fortress, okay, El Asilo, I don't think it's a good map at all, but it might have to be played. Las Almas as well, of course, is still playable, but you know, what else is there left outside of that to actually be played on here? As Dashy says, we might actually have to play the Zombie Apocalypse Highway map because there is simply nothing left in the game. So, I mean, look, I think the map set over time in this game will be okay because they have all the Modern Warfare 2 maps to bring back. There's going to be a big map pack dropping at some point, but I think their intention is to drop that for year 2. Like, what are we going to play on for the upcoming months? Because watching scrims last night, I didn't think the map set looked that bad. Like Fortress with Hotel, with Crown Raceway, okay, it's not great, but it was okay. With 2 of those maps now gone out of the game, probably, like, what are we left with? So I'm very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section, but I honestly can't believe how this is managed to be the case, but it's once again not good for the CDL. I know even Slasher was suggesting that do they want to try kill the CDL? Is that their intention here? They just try to destroy it, they're trying to bring us over to Warzone. Like, it feels that way, I'm sure, to the pros at times. So what are they going to do? What are they going to figure out? Surely, though, if these maps are unplayable, they have to release something else. Like, I know that they've got Terminal there, I know that they've got some of these other maps there. If they say, you know what, okay, we lost a couple of maps, we'll release a map pack or a few maps into the game, you're going to get Ramaza, you're going to get Piccadilly, I'll be like, lads, you can't be serious. areas. But look, that's where we find ourselves right now. It's no real surprise, but still, the way they managed to screw up definitely boggles the imagination. And just to mention this, I thought was interesting here from Brian's stats to close out. Most LAN wins in the last 5 years. Of course, a lot of that period was done online, but actually Octane and Kenny especially has the most LAN wins over the past 5 years, which is quite the statement. But very much interested your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you are new as always. Take care, and I'll see you next time.